Trump's port blockade came into effect on April 13th, and by the next morning, the first tanker had already slipped through. According to shipping data reported by Reuters and tracked through LSEG, Marine Traffic, and Kpler, a U.S.-sanctioned Chinese tanker called the Rich Starry transited the Strait of Hormuz on April 14th. It was the first sanctioned tanker to make it out of the Gulf after Washington moved to choke off Iranian ports. The ship was blacklisted for prior Iran dealings. It loaded 250,000 barrels of methanol in the UAE. It transited the strait despite the new blockade, with no Reuters reporting that the U.S. Navy intercepted it, and the crew, according to the reporting, was made up entirely of Chinese nationals. The cargo matters. The vessel was not empty. It was carrying 250,000 barrels of methanol loaded at a UAE port, and it moved the full load past the announced blockade within hours of the blockade taking effect. For context, a blockade that cannot stop a sanctioned vessel carrying that volume on the first day is a blockade whose enforcement model is already in question. The reporting does not say the U.S. Navy attempted to intercept the tanker. It does not say the ship requested permission. The vessel moved. The data tracked it. The signal to other sanctioned operators is that the opening move of the blockade has already raised questions about how tightly the line will be enforced. The confirmation came through commercial shipping analytics. LSEG, Marine Traffic, and Kpler data, cited by Reuters, tracked the Rich Starry through the choke point in real time. That matters because these are the same data providers global energy markets rely on for enforcement verification. If LSEG sees a sanctioned tanker clear Hormuz, insurers see it, traders see it. Compliance officers at every major port operator see it. The information does not stay inside Washington. It flows into the commercial record of the global shipping industry, and that record is now the reference point for every decision about whether the blockade is real or performative. A second sanctioned vessel is already following the same pattern in reverse. Another sanctioned tanker, the Merle Kishin, known for hauling Russian and Iranian oil, is now reportedly heading inbound, eyeing Iraqi fuel on April 16th. According to the Reuters report citing Kpler data, the movement raises serious questions about the enforceability of the blockade. One sanctioned ship out, another sanctioned ship in, both tracked in public data. Both are moving through the same choke point the United States is trying to police, even though Reuters says they were not headed to Iranian ports and so were not covered by the blockade as announced. The pattern is not a one-off. It is becoming the opening 48-hour template for how sanctioned operators are testing the cordon. Reuters framed the central question directly: how effective is the U.S. blockade? The report came as Trump claimed Iran was doing absolutely no business amid the blockade. Reuters said the shipping data indicates otherwise as sanctioned ships keep testing the blockade. That is an unusual line in wire reporting. It puts a direct presidential claim next to contradicting commercial shipping data on the record on the same day. The Reuters framing lands in every foreign ministry watching Hormuz as a statement that the enforcement reality is not matching the announcement. Analysts quoted in the reporting reinforced that assessment. One analyst said the success of the blockade depends on how many ships can be intercepted early and how many operators the Americans can convince they are likely to be seized if they try. The same analyst said that in all likelihood, it would prove difficult for the U.S. to enforce. That is not a political opinion. It is a technical judgment about the mechanics of interdiction delivered in a wire report on the first day of enforcement. The takeaway is that the blockade works only if early interception rates are high. In the opening window, Reuters tracked no interception was reported. Trump laid down the public line at his press appearance. "We have a blockade," he said. "They are doing no business." He said he did not like seeing boats come out if they were doing business with Iran, but that if they were not, no boats came out. He concluded that Iran was doing absolutely no business. That statement landed as Reuters reported shipping data showed the Rich Starry transiting Hormuz with a full load of methanol. The gap between the political claim and the commercial data is now part of the public record. Trump is telling the world no ships are moving. The shipping industry is showing the world a ship already moved. Press TV reported that Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov spoke with Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi by phone after the Islamabad talks collapsed, but that contact has not been independently matched at the same level by Reuters or AP. Lavrov warned of what he called perilous consequences of provocative U.S. actions in the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. He said such reckless moves endangered peace and security not only in the region, but across the world. In the same call, Lavrov condemned U.S. and Israeli strikes against Iran and urged Washington to demonstrate seriousness in advancing the diplomatic process. That conversation has been reported primarily through press TV, and the specific wording has not been matched at the same level by major Western wires. Both foreign ministers called for continued bilateral and multilateral consultations and full use of diplomatic capacities to establish lasting peace in the region. That is standard foreign ministry language. But its timing is not standard. Moscow is placing itself alongside Tehran in the public record on the same day the American blockade takes effect. The signal Moscow wants to send is alignment with Tehran against maritime pressure at Hormuz, though the extent of any real-time coordination is not independently confirmed.
Mr. President, are another round of talks planned with Iran? And if so, will you send Vice President J.D. Vance there?
Well, he's done a good job, and Steve and Jared, they've all done a very good job. And I can tell you that we've been called by the other side. They'd like to make a deal very badly, very badly.
What was the sticking point over? You said it was over nuclear.
It was over nuclear, very similar, yeah, very good. I guess you're listening. It's over the fact that they will never have a nuclear weapon. Iran, you marking it down? Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. And we agreed to a lot of things, but they didn't agree to that. And I think they will agree to it. I'm almost sure of it. In fact, I am sure of it. If they don't agree, there's no deal. There'll never be a deal. Iran will not have a nuclear weapon, and we're going to get the dust back. We'll get it back either. We'll get it back from them or we'll take it.
Mr. President, as far as the naval blockade is concerned, what's the end game? Is it to force Iran back to the negotiating table? Is it to open up the strait so that gas prices ultimately come down?
Maybe everything. I mean, both of those things, certainly, and more. We can't let a country blackmail or extort the world, because that's what they're doing. They're really blackmailing the world. We're not going to let that happen. And you know, the amazing thing is, we don't, can you believe this? We don't use the strait. We don't need the strait. We have our own oil and gas, much more than we need. We have more oil and gas than Saudi Arabia. Think of this. We produce more. Saudi Arabia, and add Russia to it. Substantially more. And by next year, we'll have double that amount. So we don't need it, but the world needs it. And many ships are heading to our country right now as we speak to load up with the best, really, I guess you could say, somebody said the best and sweetest. I don't know exactly what sweet is, but when it relates to oil, it's a good thing. But they're coming to our country right now. There are many boats coming to our country. Now, it could very well be this is going to be settled before that. We've been called this morning by the right people, the appropriate people, and they want to work a deal. They would like to work a deal.
Is it your anticipation, Mr. President, that other countries will assist in this effort to blockade Iran and those?
Yeah, other countries are going to also.
Which countries, sir?
We don't need other countries, frankly, but they've offered the services. We'll let it be known probably tomorrow.
Has the blockade started, sir?
Yeah, started 10 o'clock.
Trump has confirmed the Iranian side has reached out. The public message from Washington is that Iran is doing no business. The shipping data from Reuters, LSEG, Marine Traffic, and Kpler says otherwise. Every component of the cordon is now being tested against the commercial shipping record in real time, and the first data points have not gone the way Washington announced they would. What happens next decides the blockade. If the U.S. Navy intercepts the next sanctioned tanker attempting to transit, the cordon holds and the Rich Starry becomes the outlier. If another sanctioned tanker clears the strait without incident, the Rich Starry becomes the template. The enforcement curve over the next 72 hours determines whether Trump's blockade is a structural change in Hormuz or a political declaration that the commercial shipping industry has already routed around. Iran is watching. China is watching. Russia is watching. The vessels still waiting inside the Gulf are watching most carefully of all. Subscribe to WLA for daily geopolitical analysis.